Hello, sweet baby angels and pumpkin heads. It is your girl, Miss Tetra Resin Stone, and today we're going to be talking about an artist known as Call Me Karizma. Rather, the allegations surrounding Karizma. Karizma is an independent recording artist from Minnesota, blending rap and alternative music, pushing the idea of self-love and acceptance with a fan base cultivated mostly through social media. Citing his mission is to help be a source of hope for teens and young adults who are suffering from depression and mental health. It seems being the shoulder to cry on and a positive inspiration to his fans is not the only thing that's on Karizma's mind. It seems he's also been using his platform and position of power to prey on the young and vulnerable female fans, often underaged. Though this behavior hasn't gone unnoticed, one Twitter user writes, "Dear @Call Me Karizma, instead of lying and saying you were suddenly decided to do free shows and donate all the money to charity, how about you admit it? It's because venues on your next tour have canceled your shows due to the hundreds of sexual allegations coming out about you from minors." This was, of course, a response to Karizma's post. "To my gloomy cult, I've decided to, instead of playing a ticketed tour, I want to give some free shows around the country." The post continues, "To everyone with tattoos of my lyrics on their skin and the countless people who couldn't afford tickets, I want to meet you." Now, I find it ironic that these emo bands and singers who have sexual allegations with minors surrounding them all seem to use this cult mentality. Here, Karizma actually calls his fan base the gloomy cult, while Dahvie Vanity has called his fans cult in concert. Morgan Call Me Karizma has also allegedly been using his status as a popular musician to prey on underage girls, both online and in person. Multiple female fans have also claimed he had made unwelcome sexual advances and committed sexual assault. Call Me Karizma transforms pain into music with intense cathartic power and now receives at least a dozen DMs a day from fans declaring that his music has saved their lives. It is those dozens of DMs a day that seem to have gotten Call Me Karizma into a little bit of trouble. Depending on who you ask, you could get a multitude of stories about what exactly goes on in those messages. In fact, I have a few to share with you guys. The first exchange I want to share with you is one of Morgan grooming an underage fan. The following backstory is her first-hand account of what transpired between the minor and adult. "I followed this dude since I was 15, and around the time when I was 17, I was posting photos of me in lingerie, which I definitely shouldn't have done. Morgan would always flirt with several of us in group chats, and once I had tweeted about a dude I had sex with, Morgan DM'd me asking about it. Really shady shit. He told me to leave my man for one night. When I told him I was 17, he stated that he thought I was 22, when he damn well knew that was a lie. I had hung out with him on previous tours, so I thought he would back off. The next day, he was back in my DMs asking about the guys I've slept with, and he asked me when I would turn 18. He'd go on to comment on this fan's photos saying, quote, 'You're 12, I won't fuck you.' Do you think this is his way of trying to cover his tracks publicly?" The backstory continues. "The thing that drew the line for me was his tour in 2017. It was a few of us hanging outside the venue, and he was talking to me, and he left me to go talk to some girls and returned to say that he had gone to talk to them to apologize for getting mad for not wanting to fuck him. He literally yelled at the girls, 'I'm sorry, that was my dick talking.' I asked to take a picture with him. He took my phone and told me to kiss him on the cheek for the picture. As soon as I turned to do that, he turned his head and we almost kissed. He noticed that people around had noticed were starting to stare at us. He started yelling and pinning it all on me that I wanted to kiss him. As soon as everyone started to ignore us, he kept staring at me and then grabbed me by my neck and got close to me and then whispered to me that one day he would get to have sex with me. LOL, I guess we will. Leave your man for me. One night. Lol, I can't leave my mans for you. And even if I were to, you'd have to wait till I turned 18. I thought you were like 22. What the fuck? What? Are you serious? I don't even look 22. I must have you completely mixed up with someone else. Seem that you do. Well, isn't this awkward, Morgan? Oh, I'm sorry, little homie. Laughing my ass off. It's cool, dude. You fucked 2 dudes last night? Lol, lol, lol. Damn right I did. And you're not 18? At the same time? I'm not 18, and no, it wasn't at the same time, but it doesn't mean it hasn't happened before. Let me see these guys. Bruh, when are you 18? Asking for a friend. Now, many young females, including some of his accusers, say that inside these messages, Call Me Karizma became an outlet for them to express themselves as they dealt with mental illness. He was there for them in a time of need and helped them not only through his music, but through his words of encouragement at all times of the day. Others allege these DMs were a breeding ground of manipulation, including inappropriate image and text exchanges where Call Me Karizma would solicit nude pictures and sexual favors from fans, often promising guest list spots and all-access passes to his concerts. I gotta say that this sounds eerily familiar. Wasn't it Dahvie Vanity who would do this to girls waiting in line at Warped Tour, grabbing them from the line so he could have his way with them? The fact that this young man uses his power and influence under the guise of wanting to help them and genuinely be there to manipulate them and groom them for his own deviant desires is absolutely disgusting. He goes on to say that he's a big advocate for mental health, but some of these other tweets and receipts will show that that's really not the case. Now, this narcissist posts a shirtless pic to, quote, honor the death of a fan. And the pic's been criticized as a ploy to gain likes. A former girlfriend of Morgan's has come forward writing, "He has a booty call in every state. One time I was having a mental breakdown and I called him for support and he told me anxiety isn't real and depression doesn't matter. So he doesn't support mental illness. I can definitely tell you that." I'm going to link all of this, guys, in the description below. There's a wonderful article that's compiled all of these receipts, all of these conversations, and I really urge you guys to definitely check it out. So be sure to check the description down below. But let's first off pause for a second. This man on his public profile, he goes on to talk about how mental health is so important and how he wants to be a beacon of light in the community for the youth so they can look up to him and see that depression is temporary and that things get better and you can make it through. And though, yes, that is true, depression is temporary and you can overcome it, you clearly see that he doesn't align with that behind closed doors. When he's having an argument with one of his girlfriends, he's telling her to kill herself, blaming her for any stress and drama that's going on in his life, as opposed to taking responsibility for his own actions. In addition to that, he goes out of his way to manipulate these young women who are feeling vulnerable. It takes a lot to be vulnerable with someone, and once you gain that trust, to manipulate it in a sexual way is very disgusting. Call Me Karizma doesn't discriminate when it comes to his manipulation. Former buddy and fellow artist Anthony Amorium has exposed Morgan for his dodgy behavior. In this Twitter thread, he talks about a one-sided friendship where he would promote Morgan's work but wouldn't receive the same courtesy in return. After a post Anthony made promoting Call Me Karizma, he was informed of all the sexual allegations against him. In a follow-up tweet, Anthony says, after an extensive history of sexual assault allegations from underage fans, always deleting any negative comments on IG and sending out cease and desist letters to people calling him out, this dude is really out here making the most sexual TikToks for his underage following. Now, I did see the TikToks. They are very disgusting. They are very disturbing. And in Anthony's, initial exposed, we do see that when he did go on the tour, he was on 3 spots of that tour. He saw that the fans were between 13 and 16. Again, this is very blood on the dance floor, very that. And I think it's disgusting and gross that this man thinks that there's nothing wrong. In one of his TikToks, he goes on to say that people shouldn't use their followings to cancel people and people shouldn't use their platforms to cancel others. And it's just like, dude, you shouldn't use your platform to prey on children. How about that? There are tons of people who have been victimized by you, and, from underage to even fellow creators in your industry, in your sphere. I don't understand how or why you can get up on your TikToks and cry that you're being bullied for being exposed for these sexual allegations. Ugh. Ugh. As if being an adult with a private chat for children, underage minors, isn't bad enough, called the Riz Exclusives, where he would share and receive pictures from his fans and of himself, often in sexual nature. If that wasn't bad enough, the allegations do get a lot worse. MusicInMinnesota.com goes on to interview several women who all asked to remain anonymous. Told us a range of stories from Call Me Karizma requesting nudes to making it uninvited sexual advances during his post-show meet and greets, as well as stories of physical assaults from him and members of his team. Although accusations have been swirling since 2016, Call Me Karizma has been fairly quiet on the subject publicly, but has reached out to Twitter accounts that have shared their stories, asking them to remove them, then blocking hundreds of users who have either shared their own stories or supported those who have. Now, I can speak to this personally. He did block my ass when I let him know that I will be exposing his ass. Just putting that out there. Now, I want to talk briefly about the cancel culture. Interestingly enough, the internet has gone crazy with this cancel culture situation. And I do want to point out that just because someone is canceled doesn't mean that the behavior is going to stop. This particular person, in my alleged conspiracy, in my alleged opinion, I believe that he should go to jail. If these rape assaults are true, if the assaults of physical assaults are true, definitely needs to be off the streets, definitely does not need to have a platform and access to young girls. He's such a manipulator and he's such a predator. He actively promotes positive mental health and he goes after people who are depressed, and he wants to say, well, I'm just like you. I'm depressed. I have pain too. You can lean on me for inspiration, lean on me for hope. And he uses broken individuals because, let's be real, these folks who are reaching out to him for help don't clearly have someone in their real life that they can reach out to because they're reaching out to some D-list celebrity on the internet. That should tell you that they don't have the support system in their real life. So they're gravitating towards this online persona who's just small enough that they can see their messages and get back to them. So what's disgusting and what's crazy is he's using these vulnerable girls to be his victims, and he's exploiting their vulnerability to get his sexual desires fulfilled. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And he really should be in prison, in my alleged conspiracy, in my alleged opinion. These are all allegations, but we have screenshots. There are tons of things I'm going to be linked. Please go check out at the bottom of the video in the description box all of the material that I pulled from. There is a lot of Twitter accounts that are talking about this. I'm also going to leave a couple of links to a couple of different channels that have exposed him, and some articles for you guys to check out. Please spread the word. This is definitely something that I think is very important that we talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please share with your friends. I think it's important that we get this story out there. There are already so many victims, and this list seems to continue to grow. I hope that we're able to bring enough attention to him as we have brought to Dahvie Vanity, and we are able to expose the predators that prey on vulnerable young girls. I'm also going to be linking in the description a hotline for you guys to call if you're a victim or a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a big advocate on trauma therapy. If you've gone through something traumatic, trauma therapy really helps you overcome and actually helps you heal through what you've been through. So definitely check that out as well if you are a survivor and you come across this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in my next one. Until next time, bye-bye.